I am really wrestling with this lid. I'm sure I'm there. It's almost like a wrestling match for sure. There you go. I prevailed. Got it done. I want to speak about a story in the Bible of a man called Jacob who also wrestled in a very different way. You see, he wrestled with God. And the story goes, he sends out his family and his livestock away because his brother Esau was coming to meet him. The same Esau who he deceived by taking his birthright away. So his brother was coming with 400 men to meet Jacob, and he was afraid, and he prayed to God, God help me. And God does help him. He comes and wrestles with Jacob till daybreak. And at that point, God says to him, no longer you shall be called Jacob, but Israel. And the meaning of the word Israel is one who wrestles with God, one who is triumphant with God. Jacob learned something important that day, because the next day, when he does meet Esau, something remarkable happens. He's still afraid now, but Esau runs towards his brother and embraces him and weeps, and they both weep. It's almost like Jacob couldn't believe what just changed in this situation. You see, what changed was God came and wrestled with Jacob and taught him something, taught him not to give up, not to think that he's alone in this. What are we wrestling with today? What are we going through in these times, especially during COVID? Are we wrestling with God? Better yet, the question is, are we wrestling against God? See, the point is, God wants to wrestle with us, and we end up wrestling against Him. Who's going to win? We know the outcome. But when we learn to wrestle with God, we learn things from Him. We learn His wisdom, we learn revelation of things, of how to deal with our issues and our situations. And God wants us to wrestle with Him, to contend, to say, God, what's going on? What are these things that are happening? I don't understand, but help me understand. And He did the same with Jacob. You see, Ephesians 6 talks about we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities and powers of darkness. And God is trying to teach us, when we wrestle with Him, we can wrestle against principalities and powers of darkness. So today, let's make a choice. Say, God, I want to wrestle with you. I don't want to put my fist up in heaven and say, why? But I want to say, God, come on, let's do this together. Let's learn from God. Let's wrestle with Him and not against Him. But let's wrestle against principalities and powers of the air and darkness, but not with it. God is teaching us victory in these times. He's showing us how to strengthen ourselves through His strength. And we can only do that when we learn to wrestle with God. Just the way Jacob did. Just the way I did with this jar. It pays. It opens. God's going to open doors in our lives when we learn to wrestle with Him.